What is the best diet approach for guys over 40? Every fat loss diet is simple. In fact, losing weight is in theory very easy. The overarching principle is basic calorie math and willpower. In basic terms, eat fewer calories or expend more calories than your maintenance intake, and the excess weight goes right down the shower drain. The devil, of course, is in the details. First, you have to choose how you want to do your calorie math. What flavor of calorie deficit best works for you and your lifestyle? Low or high carb? Some sort of calorie cycling or intermittent fasting? Anything will essentially work as long as your calories are set, right? It almost doesn't matter. Almost.
If you're a guy over 40 and the goal, like most middle-aged guys in our demographic, is to lose weight, the first thing we need to do before you decide on a diet approach is change your mindset and your goal. To be honest, anyone of any age shouldn't be coming into a diet phase with the intention or goal just to lose weight. Your goal, especially if you're over 40, should be, yes, lose body fat, but simultaneously endeavoring to increase your lean muscle tissue as well. Or, at worst, lose body fat while preserving as much lean muscle tissue as possible. Pure weight loss should never be the goal. Now, if you're the 1 in a million guy that happens to be object to the idea of putting on more lean muscle tissue, for starters, we can't be friends. But even more important than having me as a buddy is understanding the importance of putting on muscle, or at least preserving it when dropping body fat. Quick lesson: the more lean muscle tissue your body carries, the better performing and more effective your metabolic rate is. The big advantage to this is you will burn more calories throughout the day purely because you're jacked. If you lose lean muscle tissue, your metabolic rate, well, it decreases, meaning you burn less calories throughout the day. Meaning if you diet, lose body fat, but also lose muscle tissue, which is what the majority of diet approaches out there will result in, the moment you're out of that diet phase and not eating in a calorie deficit, hello, rapid fat gain. This is why the majority of people who mainstream conventional diet will lose weight, but when you see them 3-4 weeks later, have ballooned out again. First rule to dieting over 40, place as much focus on preserving or even gaining muscle as what you're placing on losing fat.
So here's the problem though. Most evidence-based diets are derived from studies using overweight or obese folks with zero measure of muscle preservation, let alone muscle development. Studies conducted on them often don't measure catabolic muscle loss, metabolic rate, or gym performance effects. They're purely about the drop on the scales as markers of success, something we now know is not the be-all and end-all, and definitely not the benchmark of a successful diet. So, how do we approach dieting now knowing this?
There are a number of factors that are going to contribute to your dieting phase being a success now that you're over 40. And again, success is defined as dropping fat while keeping your lean muscle tissue intact. From training protocols, macronutrient ratios, health markers, as well as daily calories. Now in this video, we're going to cover the most important, because without this in place, nothing else matters, and that is calories. More specifically in this video, how your calories are distributed throughout your day and throughout your week. First things first, for weight loss to occur, a calorie deficit must be present.
Real quick, for those of you who don't know, calorie deficit means taking in less energy from food than that energy that you expend. It is only with a caloric deficit in place that your body will use fat stores as fuel.
So any diet will put you in some form of a calorie deficit, even the fad rubbish ones. First thing to check though is the amount of a deficit. Calorie deficits that are large, yep, will have you dropping weight. But large deficits put your lean muscle tissue at greater risk. They will increase cortisol levels and can negatively impact anabolic hormones, resulting in a snowflake's chance in hell of being able to grow any lean muscle tissue at all. Of course, it does vary from individual to individual, but as a general rule of thumb, I'll usually start someone with an average deficit of approximately 1,400 calories over the course of a week. And depending on how they respond, look to increase over time if and when required. Now, if muscle preservation is not only the goal, but increasing lean tissue is, the way that weekly deficit of 1400 calories, or whatever calorie deficit you have chosen to put yourself in, is spread over your week matters. Here you now have the choice of a continuous fat loss approach or a non-linear fat loss approach. A continuous fat loss approach is where you take that weekly deficit, in this case 1400, and evenly subtract it from your daily calories. So a daily deficit of 200 calories is in place, giving you that weekly deficit of 1400 calories. Or take the non-linear approach, also known as the refeed approach. Now this is something I'll often use with a lot of my over 40 clients to help ensure lean muscle tissue is not only protected, but helping support an environment more favorable for lean growth. Okay, so this is where I reduce a client's caloric intake by a greater amount for 5 days of the week. Example, Monday through Wednesday, reducing the calories by 280 per day. Friday and Saturday, 280 calorie deficit as well. So now we have a weekly calorie deficit target of that 1400 calories being met over 5 days instead of 7. Thursday and Sunday now become refeed days. What this is where I jump them back up to either their maintenance calorie intake or in some cases a slight surplus. I want to be clear here. I said refeed days, not cheat days. You at least want to come back up to your individual caloric maintenance level with the use of additional calories coming from carbohydrates. The carbs you are eating already on your meal plan, not a bag of lollies.
So I think a good question to ask and for you guys to understand is, how does the refeed strategy that Ty often implements with his clients prevent the loss of fat-free mass if the total weekly caloric reduction, in this case 1400 calories, is ultimately the same as the continuous diet approach as well? How does this work exactly?
So the 2-day uptick in calories can help blunt the catabolic environment for muscle. Understand, the longer you diet, the less of an ideal environment is present to facilitate muscle growth and even muscle preservation if it goes on too long. The 2-day carb spike will help result in more glycogen being stored in the muscle, leading to less fatigue and more effort during training. The additional 2-day carb refeed can help cause insulin secretion, which suppresses acute muscle protein breakdown. Now, while both approaches will have you losing fat, the over 40 and older clients that I have set on that 2-day-a-week refeed tend to lose fractionally more fat, preserve their lean muscle tissue easier, and help keep their metabolism chugging along.
And that's that. A methodical approach to choosing the best diet for us older folks, as well as debunking common diet misconceptions and myths to do with weight loss, fat loss, and the likes. Stay tuned for more weekly men's health and lifestyle tips on our channel by subscribing and clicking the notification icon. If you found the video helpful, please don't forget to leave a like and comment on your personal experience when it comes to the diets you've tried in the past. See you all next week.